and welcome to the 16th episode of SourceCast. Today I'm joined by Artsy, Omni, and Alax, and today we'll be talking about creating Smash content. So I figured, why don't we have our guests introduce themselves? Artsy, Omni, why don't you introduce yourselves for those of you who might not be aware?
All right. I am Artsy Omni. I am one of the creators and co-leads of Smashified, which is the YouTube channel where we create artwork in the style of Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. And we take character requests and make crazy 3D models with them. And it's really hard and takes a long time. So that's me.
All right, and how about you, Alax?
I'm Alax. I make a lot of Smash videos. I started off, I guess we'll go into that later, but I started off doing speculation videos, preparing for Smash 4, Smash for 3DS and Wii U. And as the game came out, I started doing character-specific videos on their movesets, theories, and their design. And then I kind of just branched off from there. I like to do a lot of different stuff. And for my future, I don't really know what's set up. Right now, I'm starting like an Overwatch series as well. So I don't know. I'm more involved in Smash, but I want to branch out. So that's a little bit about me.
Okay, and I'm PushDustIn. I'm the founder of Source Gaming. Basically, we've done a lot of the translations that have come out in the past year and a half, and we've done a lot of research within the development of Smash itself. So, how did you guys get started in creating Smash content, and how did you find your niche? Omni, do you want to start with that?
Sure, I'll start. So for me, I guess it goes all the way back to around 2007, and that's not when I started doing YouTube content, but it's when I started doing Smash related content. And I was part of the original Insider forums, if you guys remember that, and Insider 2 when that closed down. And what I did back then was I took requests for Kirby hats rather than characters. And basically, if you wanted a character in Smash, just tell me what you would want, and I'll put that character's head on Kirby's head as a hat and see what it looks like. And that got decently popular on the forums there. And so after that, I started getting a little bit fancier and started trying to do other characters using Photoshop, just trying to do these fake 3D renders. And after a while, I stopped when Brawl came out. And then when the wait for Smash 4 came out, I started exploring that idea again. Back in E3 2014, 13, I don't remember at this point, but I did another sort of fake leak of Klonoa that failed miserably within 30 minutes because I tried to do a Japanese banner, but it had Ike's name in it, but I didn't know.
Yes.
Because it's Japanese.
I remember that.
So, but yeah, that's sort of where I started doing that. And then I decided, you know what? I want to start a YouTube channel and create time-lapse art like this. So I started doing it again, and I did Rayman. And that's sort of how it evolved. And now I'm just doing it practically as like half of my full-time job, except it's not making me that much money. But it's what I spend my time doing. So, yeah.
Oh, so you still do stuff for your own, like commissions and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah. I still have a day job where I make most of my income. But Smashified is probably half my life at this point.
Mm-hmm. All right. And how about you, Relax?
Well, as I mentioned, prior to Smash 4, I believe it was April before it came out that year. Mm-hmm. I was doing mostly speculation videos and just basically looking at the trailers or directs and being like, okay, this is what we're looking at. And similar to like Game Explain, I did similar type videos, but I wanted to because they have their own backgrounds, but I was much more aware of like Smash Brothers. I know the series very well. At least at that point, I know much more well now. But so I was looking at it from that perspective as someone who's very like involved with the series. So that's kind of where I took off, and I kind of got a springboard from like Smash boards because there was a lot of fans there. Mm-hmm. Initially, when like the Rosalina trailer came out, I even wrote a little video just going over what we saw in the trailer, seeing if there was any hints like, oh, this is how many Lumas there were. It's like, oh, this item's in the game now. It shows us and stuff like that. And eventually I was like, you know what? I've been making videos like prior to like the channel Alax. I've made videos on a ton of other channels for like 6 years. It was kind of just like a side hobby and like nothing really like serious, but it was only until I made like that first analysis video where I was like, oh, this is actually this might be my little niche where I can take off, and that's kind of where it started. And I made videos like that, and yeah, I started to create a following for myself, and I mean, it's gotten me pretty far, so I'm really happy about that. Right now, I would say it's like most of my life right now. I'm a student, so I decided, am I going to have a job this summer, or am I going to focus on YouTube and try to make that a job? So that's what I'm trying to do right now, make it a job to pay those pesky student tuition fees. So
Good stuff.
but that's where I'm at.
Okay. And for me, I started Source Gaming about a year and a half ago, I believe now. And it didn't really take off until about a year ago when I originally started to be in order to practice translations because I've been living in Japan and I'm like, I'm not really like improving my Japanese. I need to use it more and I need to get professional skills with it. So I started Source Gaming in order to kind of acquire those professional skills. And then I joined the leaks group on Smashboards, and that's when I got really into Smash speculation, rumors, leaks, and everything like that. And there's a couple of times where people were posting information, and I always wondered like what interview did that come from and stuff like that. And so I kind of made it my mission to start collecting all these interviews and start figuring out what was actually said and to see if there was anything that was missed by this fan base for so many years.
Yeah.
And then I got more people to join me, and now we have 23 people on the site, I
Oh
believe.
wow.
Yeah. Jeez
Yeah,
Louise.
but it's everyone's volunteer though, so people have irregular schedules and everything, but managing everyone is a task in itself too.
Oh yeah, I know how that
For
can
that
be.
many people, for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I was thinking about when you said like trying to learn Japanese. That's a lot of what I do as well is driven by my desire to just learn new things. And even like if you watch all the way back at the beginning of Smashified, you can see how our processes have evolved in like me learning 3D modeling, which is a recent
Yeah.
development, and just every time we do a new character, there's something in the process that we didn't know how to do before. And so even though we're trying to make this like perfect replication of the style each time, we find new challenges every time. And I think it's a really good way to grow as a person is just to have a project like this. And I think that's evident with a lot of channels and content creators out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. For my stuff, even back then I did like the speculation because I'm like, you know what, some people aren't doing it the way I want to do it, so what better way to do it than to do it yourself? And I really like learning about things, or I was like such a fiend for learning new stuff about the game. And then now the series I do, Know Your Moves, I really love the characters of Smash because they're so deep, and Sakurai really does care, and a lot of people don't really see those little details. So I just love everything in Smash for that reason. I guess that's the reason why we all kind of are involved in it. Just how deep it actually is. And I don't know. I like entertaining too, and I like helping people learn. So I guess that's where I found that I've definitely learned a lot more about editing for sure. And like all the Adobe suite, I wouldn't have known that like a year or so ago.
Yeah. Doing things yourself is also huge. Like being dissatisfied with what's out there currently. That's definitely a huge thing when it comes to character interpretation and design. Like this character only has a sprite, and all of the 3D interpretations I've seen don't look like they really live up to the sprite. So I want to do one myself and make one that I think does actually like really capture that essence.
Has there been a conversion that you've been particularly proud of?
Yeah, I mean, as I look back on characters, there's always stuff that I wish I did differently, but I do like the way we did Bomberman. I thought that was a fun thing to do because I like how in Smash they add these details that aren't really there in the original character designs, just to add a level of realism to kind of create an even playing field when it comes to complexity. Because a lot of the characters in Smash are like from crazy fancy animes or anime characters with really intricate costumes, and then there's Mario and Kirby, who's got these really basic overalls, and Kirby is a pink ball, and they really don't do anything to Kirby to make him that complex. But with Mega Man, characters like that, I thought I wanted to try to capture that, and I thought we did a pretty good job. I'm actually having trouble remembering what characters we've done because it's been so long.
Yeah,
but
I know that feeling.
Yeah, so kind of going off of that, So would you say that your content has evolved
Oh yeah,
in a big way then?
I think so. Especially when it comes to like Alax was saying, wanting to branch out, because I know like Smash hype is dying down over time. View counts as a result, especially when you start getting into characters that not as many people were wanting. View counts for videos start to kind of steadily decline. So for us, we also want to start branching out to other sorts of content. Like we started this series called Splatshine, where we combine Splatoon and Super Mario Sunshine, and there's a lot of other ideas that we have that we just haven't started yet because of time. But there's definitely a plan to continue to evolve, and hopefully we don't stagnate, because that's probably my biggest fear when it comes to creation, is getting to a place where you're not really growing. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a huge fear. You hit the nail on the head.
And Relax, you said that you're doing Overwatch content too now.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like Omni was mentioning, actually, Smash viewership. I guess it's just like the nature of how the game's been out for It's a year or two, right?
The DLC's been almost. DLC has almost been finished for a year, or was started a year ago.
Yeah. Okay. So then, yeah, the Smash, like anyone interested, it's usually just the hardcore tournament guys or just general Smash fans. So I guess my videos have to kind of taken a turn that way for Smash related stuff. I think like, I don't know, my series is kind of like, I don't want to say like timeless, but you could watch it in 5 years and still learn the same stuff about the characters, unless they put out a new Smash where they do new move sets or whatever, which that's always a potential worry. But as for evolving, I had already evolved from doing speculation, and now I'm doing those heavily edited type videos. And I kind of just want to expand from games, because I like the Smash games, but that's not just like, you don't want people to just think a content creator as just a channel. Like, I'm a person too, and I like many other things. So I really wasn't interested in Overwatch. I've been playing it like a bad amount, and I've wanted to make no real, like, level 70 already. So
yeah, you and everyone else have been playing it a bad amount.
But I really wanted to make a series on the characters of the game, because everyone usually does like guides or, oh, okay, this was happening. Like, maybe I could do a series for these characters, because they're all like really rich and have deep histories. So they're not deep, but they have some nice lore. So I was really interested in how that was like put into their play styles. And for the first two I did, it was actually like surprising how much thought went into it for Blizzard. So that's what I'm thinking about now. I don't know what else I'm going to do in the future, but I like to keep it open, because I don't like to just say, oh, I'm only a Smash channel, I only do this, because I don't want to like stagnate, like Omni said.
Yeah, I was afraid of that when I was picking the name for Source Gaming, because I've thought of a couple names like Smash Source or stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was kind of afraid of pigeonholing myself into only doing Smash content.
Yeah.
So I can definitely understand that fear.
Those poor channels called Smash, Super Smash Fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Smashified. There's a problem.
Yeah, but Smashified sounds cool, even if it was like not even related to Smash.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah, because we've actually been talking for a while about, like, if we wanted to really branch out, we should probably name the channel something more team centric, and we've just had no progress in coming up with a name that's as catchy as Smashified. So
yeah,
we've kind of just been sticking with it. But no, I understand what you're saying, and especially the whole deal about like wanting people to appreciate you, not just for your content, but as a person. Like that's one of my biggest concerns, because when I started out, I was just Artsy Omni on YouTube, and I actually changed the channel name to Smashified and made Artsy Omni, like I converted it to an older account. And because that's something I've always wanted to do, is just kind of build a following, not just because of the content I create, but because I appreciate the people I watch as people, and so I want that for myself. And that's probably a little bit selfish, but it's sort of something that I don't want to pigeonhole myself either. I just want to be able to do something and have people be interested in it just by virtue of the fact that it's me who's creating it. So that's definitely a huge goal.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with a lot of artists, where you want people to recognize the stuff you make and respect it, but you're a person yourself, and you don't want to just feel like just like, I don't know,
Like a
people.
machine.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of fans, I get that too, where they're just like, oh yeah, do this, do that. It's like, yo, I'm a person too. And
Hmm.
you can tell like what channels are like reflective of that, where it's like they come for the person or they come for the content. You can very much tell, but there's like disadvantages to both, I think.
Yeah, I'm probably the only one. Well, I'm the only one here who has never showed their face.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so I'm actually the least personal person here. Um, the reason that I've kind of stayed anonymous for so long, and that actually might change very soon, because I'm my content is kind of evolving into more reporting
Yeah,
and more video game journalism. And in order to do that, I kind of need to use my real name or show my real face, at least at events.
yeah,
So that's something that I've been kind of thinking about back and forth. But for me, like I never wanted it to be about me. I wanted to be about the information, because I don't, for at least my particular section.
yeah. It's a lot about with that stuff, like a lot of the information about like translations, people a lot like put their own bias into it. So
Hmm.
as you can get as far away from that, that's probably better for the information.
Yeah, and like whenever we did translations and stuff like that, we always had multiple people check it in order to try to eliminate as much bias as possible.
Yeah,
But of course, we still ran like opinion articles or
yeah,
thoughts about stuff like that. But when it came to like information, we wanted to be as neutral as possible. But and also like we existed as purely as an article site for such a long time. Like we just really only started doing videos and podcasts and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's like Alex was saying, there's definitely pitfalls to kind of putting yourself out there as a person, especially when it comes
Hmm.
to just doing your own PR, because you don't have a PR relations person, so you have to like interact with people directly. And there's definitely a danger of like you see all these scandals for big YouTubers out there, and it's so easy to just
yeah,
Hmm.
fall into this giant hole and that you can never climb out of because you weren't thoughtful about what you say on Twitter or things like that. So there's definitely
Hmm.
like dangers there, and you have to be really careful. And that's not to say I have such a large following or anything that I'd
yeah,
create some sort of
exactly.
scandal, but like it's easy not to be mindful or careful about how you talk to people or what you say. And so I think one of the things that really struck me, one of the people I watch on YouTube is Swoozy, and one of the
Hmm.
one of the pieces of advice he gave was pretend that everything you say could go viral. And I thought that was really powerful, because you don't know what people might decide to write an article about. Like even me, I closer to the Rayman leak, I left a comment on one of these other fake leaks that someone made, and it was like the fake Paper Mario 3D for 3DS,
I
Thousand Year
remember
Door,
that.
and I left a comment talking about how like I don't condone the act of creating a leak, even though I did one, and because
Yeah,
in hindsight, you have all of these pieces of wisdom that you can glean from your own mistakes. And so
Hmm.
I wrote a comment on that YouTube video. And then on Gamnesia, there was an article that says, Rayman Leaker doesn't condone fake leaks. Is he a hypocrite? And I was like, man, why are you writing an article about my YouTube comments? Do I really have to watch out that much now? But
yeah,
but you definitely have to be careful. And like you have an influence now. So you have to be mindful of it.
yeah, for sure. For a while, for me, uh, when it was like my first year of making videos, and I was like not experienced at like script writing or just like putting points together, I made this video on like Melee, and that's already a rabbit hole you don't want to go in.
Yo,
And it
yeah.
was just about it was just about how the
Yeah.
game was like an accident. It was just like it was a game that became something out of just like it wasn't meant to be like this competitive or last. I guess you couldn't say it last this long, but it was never supposed to become such a competitive game, or at least in Sakurai's eyes. And yeah, that video, I could have said a lot of things better. And even today, it comes and bites me in the ass. Like, oh, you're that guy that hates Melee. You're the guy that says Melee should die. And I'm like, whoa, I played Melee since it came out. I love this game.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
hate it. Like, I've posted videos on Reddit, and like, I've had a person who just like harassed me about it. I'm like, whoa, dude, it's just Melee, dude, chill.
Yeah, I actually, in a couple of your videos, I've seen you made comments about that. Like, I don't hate Melee,
Yeah.
and I have to make similar comments about Wolf, because a lot of people
Oh,
think I
yeah,
hate
yeah.
Wolf, because I was one of the only people to say that Wolf wasn't going to come back. And there was even a NeoGAF. They had like 3 pages conversation about my tweets because I said that Wolf wasn't come back. I didn't predict he would come back. And so a lot of people just think I have an out for Wolf or something like that. It's like, no, I love Wolf. He was one of my main one of my mains in Brawl. It's just I didn't think he was coming back.
Yeah. Yeah, people just take everything you say and like amplify it to an insane degree where it's like by the time it gets to someone else, it's just like, hey, aren't you that guy? It's like, well, sort of. And it's like they also don't, what fans may not understand is that we are, in fact, people too. So our views may change. Like the video I made about that, I put it on unlisted because I'm like, you know what? I don't quite agree with the stuff I said, and I don't want to be remembered for this. So I don't want people watching it and being like, oh, this is who this Alax guy is. What a tool.
Yeah, people like to generalize based on your content a lot. Like a lot of people think I don't like Rayman because I created a fake leak and tricked people about him being in the game. But I totally would have wanted Rayman to be playable. Like that would have been awesome to me. I would have loved to see that. And I voted for Rayman in the ballot. So you can't say that I don't want him or like don't want people who love Rayman to have fun playing as Rayman in Smash. It just didn't happen. So
if you weren't a fan, you wouldn't have made the content.
Yeah,
exactly.
So where do you kind of see where where do you see your content going from here then? Well, we kind of already talked a little bit about this with Overwatch and kind of like rebranded Smashified.
I'm not quite sure because Know Your Moves, you two know like enough about that series, but there's a lot of characters in Smash 4, so I see that being like a long-term project. And I think as far as that goes, it'll kind of be evolving over time. I already see it evolving from like the first year I did it, where I was just like, okay, these are how the videos are going to go. But if I want to complete it, I'm going to have to start making these a bit more efficiently and more in line with like YouTube's algorithm if I want this to be like considered a job. And like, it's quite hard to keep a balance of that stuff. But you also see yourself change just based on how you go as a creator and what you watch, and like, oh, I like this from this person, I don't like this from another person, so I'm going to try and include that in mine. And yeah, I guess that's where I'm going with that. As far as like other series go, I don't know if I want to branch out too much, but at the same time, I want to have an open future for myself. Like we said, like I don't want to just be a Smash channel because who knows when the next game's going to come out, and they come out so sparingly. I like Nintendo, so I'm sort of a Nintendo channel because I do like discussions on stuff. But as far as that goes, I see that being in my future. I don't really want to keep it closed.
Yeah, I think becoming a Nintendo-focused channel is a very natural transition for anybody who was in Smash, because that game is basically just a celebration of Nintendo as a company and as a legacy. So for us, that's definitely like the most simple transition, and that's where our interests lie because we like Smash. So obviously we like Nintendo content. So it's very easy to just, what other Nintendo kind of things do you want to create art for? That's pretty much the natural inclination for me, and Splatshine is that way. I'm hugely into Zelda. That's where I spent a lot of my time growing up, on forums about Zelda. So I'm super excited about this new game. We might end up doing a series of art based on the style of this new game.
That would be
that's
awesome.
something that
that'd
we'd
be
love
awesome
to do. So that's sort of where I just see the channel going. And for me personally, one of the biggest reasons I do art is because I love games, and my aspiration is to become an artist for actual video games. And so a lot of what I learn, I'm applying to how I could develop my own game in the future. So like my long-term plan is game development, and that's something that I've dabbled in for a long time in my life. But near future, more Nintendo content. Long time from now, you might see a game in the future, hopefully.
Yeah, that's my long term, but that's like long term. Yeah, because you have probably much more experience than I do. But I do have ideas, and that's really where everything starts. So I'm willing to learn.
Yeah, so you guys are also connecting with a lot of indie developers too, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, yeah. We actually did a commission for one of the indie developers out there, Freedom Planet by Galaxy Trail. We did one of their characters in Smashified, so we have some contact in that arena, and we actually put out a game as a different team, not Smashified, not that group of people, but back when I was in college, we actually made an iOS game just for college credit, but it wasn't for college credit. We tried to make it for college credit and it didn't work out, so we just made a game instead. And it's not even on the App Store anymore, but we finished the game, so I have a very good idea of pipelines and how the process works, and I've been involved in game projects for quite a while. So yeah.
Okay, so what are some challenges that your fans might not be aware of?
So
Yeah.
Yeah,
many.
this is a pretty big question, I know.
The amount of time it takes to do a
Yeah.
video, basically.
Yeah.
Like,
Do you want a social life? You shouldn't make YouTube content.
like it's like very. I mean, we could go on and on. And I don't want to just be like, oh, what I do is so hard. What I do is so hard. I'm so but it really, like, a minute of video for someone that does content like my own, it's like nothing compared to someone that does a minute like gameplay commentary. So and especially for like Omni, I can't imagine doing oh
Yeah.
my word. But
Yeah.
it takes a while, and what a lot of people don't realize is, yeah, that's a lot of time out of my day, and I'm not working or anything, so I gotta treat this like I gotta be diligent, especially when you self-manage yourself. Time management is just, it's very hard to
It
do,
is.
especially when people are just like, oh, you're just at home, do you want to do this? Or, oh, you're just upstairs, do you want to help me with that? It's just,
Yeah.
oh my word. It's very hard to do.
Yeah, time management is so difficult, especially because people like to think of being your own boss as some glamorous thing. It's actually so much easier just to have a boss telling you what to do.
Yeah.
It's so much easier because when you have to control all of the way you spend your own time, then it's so tempting to just kind of relax and just like, oh, I could watch Netflix while I work, right? No,
Yeah.
probably not. You shouldn't. But yeah, it's definitely a big challenge. When it comes to time spent, just to give you an idea, the character that we're currently working on, I've clocked in about 23 hours of work on it just by myself, and it's not done
Jeez.
yet. So it takes a long
Yeah.
time to do 3D models. Also, you mentioned the YouTube algorithm. That's something that we have to be mindful of, and
Right.
our content is definitely not algorithm friendly. So we have to turn to things like Patreon to make it even somewhat viable. And yeah, trying to make a job out of YouTube content is a very large challenge, even for Let's Players, because Let's Players have a hugely saturated market to deal with. So if you don't make it in
It's
there,
true.
then you just don't make it. It's hard to break into that market.
Yeah, I've tried Let's Playing before, like years ago. It's not easy. Not easy at all.
Yeah.
Side note, it's very hard to talk for that long and
Yeah,
stay
especially-
interesting. I commend people that can do that.
Yeah, especially if you're an introvert like me and you don't
Yeah,
like talking
yeah.
that much. Yeah.
I can only pretend to be an extrovert for so long.
Yeah, in the same way, I try to stream it a couple times, and I just feel weird. Like I know there's people in the chat room and everything, and I'm
Yeah.
not talking to myself, but I still feel like I'm talking to myself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I'm not very audible when I play video games. Like
Yeah.
I don't like to commentate on my own. Like if I have friends over, I'm just playing the game. I'm focused on that. So it's very hard for me to stream games sometimes. For source gaming content, like our stuff takes up a lot of time too. I think the fastest that we've ever done a full column translation was 2.5 hours, and that was with 4 people working on simultaneously translating it. And yeah, it was like a column that was released, and then immediately we purchased it from Weekly Famitsu.
Oh,
And
and then got
then-
like first translation.
I'm sorry.
Did you get like the first translation of it?
Yeah. In order to try to post the first translation
Yeah.
of it, but because we do the full translation, not just bits and pieces of it,
Yeah.
it takes a long time, especially if you're trying to edit everything into one voice, so it doesn't appear jarring or anything like that. And then also fact check, translation checking and stuff like that.
And when it comes to doing a website for you, you have to be a webmaster as well, I imagine.
Yeah, I'm not a very good webmaster, but yes.
That's something that's always a challenge for me. It's so, like, especially when you're not dealing with it all the time, just like having to do work on art and then like, oh, and then I have to do the site too because we have a site, and just sort of intermittent work. Sometimes you forget your code and it's like, why is that there? I should have commented this better. So it's definitely a challenge.
For us, we're just we're using WordPress, so it's basically just managing plugins and stuff like that. It's not that difficult, really.
Yeah, thankfully WordPress auto updates if you let it, so that's not a huge problem.
Yeah.
Unless it breaks things, which it can do.
I have everything manually updated, but
Yeah.
I'm on it every day, so.
Yeah, website building. Maybe in the future. Don't really want to look into it now.
Yeah, you designed one though. I saw that.
Yeah, I did that for
I remember
school.
that video.
Yeah, I did it for school, and it was just like, it was just like a project we did over the semester, and that's what ended up being created. I'm more like, I can make anything look, I can make it look good. It didn't have that deep of a code, but I guess that's with a lot of things. If you can make it look good without that much work behind, then that's pretty good in it of itself. But as for me, I don't think a website. I don't need a website just because like my channel's enough.
You know what's funny is the name Artsy Omni actually came from a web design project. When I was in college, we had to do a personal site, and I didn't know what to call mine, and I didn't want to call it hextupleu because that's stupid. Why did I come up with that username?
Right.
But
so many of those.
So I came up with Artsy Omni for my web design project, and that's what I am now. So thanks college. I owe you one.
I'm thinking
I got mine from a trash can.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me that. It's just like some trash can.
Yeah, it's a trash can in Japan. It mistranslated it.
That's great. That's amazing.
That's funny. Mine just like, a lot of people call me Alax as like a sarcastic, or they did throughout high school and they still do today. And I was just like, what rhymes with Alax? And I was like, oh, relax. Huh. I'm pretty relaxed. I'm pretty calm. And then bada boom, that's what happened. But I've been through so many dumb usernames that it's just, it's whatever now. Like I could change it. I don't know. Because I've had a couple of accounts in the past.
It's kind of hard to change it now because you kind of built your brand around that.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. It's just like, oh, you're the relaxed guy. I'm like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that's another challenge is branding. Is definitely something you have to be mindful of. That's one of the fears we have when it comes to rebranding the channel. Like, are people still going to know who we are? Like, why am I subscribed to this random channel? I'm just going to unsubscribe from this now. So that's a concern.
Yeah.
Yeah, branding's quite hard. Or just consistent branding. Because if you want to change it later down the line, it's like, oh, well, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, if you change your logo, people are not going to be happy.
Yeah, like Instagram, right?
Yeah, exactly like that.
Yeah, and then also making sure that the name is not used anywhere else, like that it's a unique name.
Yeah,
it's also pretty difficult.
Mm-hmm.
One of the challenges that I've constantly come into is titling art stuff.
Yeah,
it's like how to come up with a proper title, because people jump up on the it's a clickbait article or something like that so quickly these days.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, if it's not catchy enough, they won't click on it.
Yeah.
So trying to find the balance is very difficult.
Yeah. I've been having this problem, but I've been through like different phases. Like, okay, how do I do this? How do I do it? Should I try this? But I think where I'm at now is you want people to click on it. So you want it to have like a catchy title. But if it's not related to anything in the video, then you'll be like cheating yourself and them. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I don't even know. Recently, I think people don't really read the titles all that much. They'll read it once and then look more at the thumbnail. At least for YouTube videos is what I'm referring mostly. But they'll read it, but by the time they click it, they won't really think about it, I guess. Only the people that are like, wow, you're a sellout. And then I'll reply to them, LOL, no, I'm not. Of course I'm a sellout. I'm making money from this. Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks for the view.
Yeah,
Yes.
SEO is is a thing. That's definitely, especially when it comes to article titles. Like you want it, yeah, like you were saying, Alax, you want it to represent the content of the article or the video, but
Yeah.
if you make it like just a dry, boring title, then no one's gonna click on it. So
Exactly.
Mhm.
You got to make it like interesting, but sometimes that's very hard without being like to yourself. This sounds a little too like those bad advertisements from the 90s.
yeah,
And you don't
Yeah.
want to cheat yourself at the end of the day because it's your like project. Metadata is one of the worst things because it's just like you have to represent something you put a lot of time into through like a couple of characters, and it's just like
Yeah.
ugh.
The thing that really annoys me is like with articles in particular, a lot of people only read the headline.
Yeah.
Like they don't actually read the
Oh
content.
my goodness! And then they comment.
And then they comment and they're like, "Did you read it?"
Yeah.
It's like I can see the analytic. I have Google Analytics on Source Gaming, so I can see how long people actually spend on each article and everything like that. And it's depressing sometimes.
It's very hard to do internet-based stuff. That's all.
Yeah,
Hard.
That's why like I've been slowly transitioning to more video and audio stuff because people will listen to this stuff in the background.
Mhm.
Oh,
They
yeah.
won't read though.
I love listening to podcasts when I work. It's so nice because I hate the silence, but a
Yeah.
video is distracting unless I've seen it before. So sometimes I'll rewatch like Let's Plays and just not really watch it, but podcasts are
Yeah.
my best friend. I love podcasts.
If my videos didn't like need like audio editing to go alongside the video, then I would totally. It's sucky because everyone's like, "Oh yeah, I just listen to podcasts when I work." I'm like, I wish I listen
Oh,
to
yeah, that's
my
true.
own voice all the time. And it's just
Yeah.
like, shut up, me. You're not funny.
You hear the same joke like 8 times.
Yeah, and it's just like, is this
Yeah.
gonna be even funny? Is this even gonna be funny when it comes out? I hope so.
Yeah, that's my least favorite part of editing is the fact that you have to pay attention to the audio, so you can't have other audio going unless you just want a complete mess of sound happening
Yep.
while you're working. We're starting to get into this next question though, like with the
Yeah.
It's a
How do
good
you deal with
segue.
negative feedback?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I guess the easy way out is to ignore it, but I don't do that because I can't.
Yeah, I'm on the
Mhm.
same boat. Like I've tried to ignore, but it just doesn't work for me because I'm like, no, I'm gonna reply back.
I think one of the strategies I've had recently when it comes to negative feedback and just like destructive negative feedback is to just be really, really, really nice to the person because they don't know what to do anymore. If you do that, it just makes
Yeah.
them look worse. So I've been using that. I've been killing people with kindness lately. I think that's kind of fun. And when it comes to like negative but constructive feedback, you just have to take it to heart and like not let it
Mhm.
get to you personally because
Yeah,
especially when it comes to artwork, like people will point out flaws in the artwork all the time. And it's something
Oh,
that
yeah.
sometimes we know about it and we just have to put it out because it's been too long. And sometimes we
Yeah.
didn't notice because we've been staring at the piece of art for 24 hours straight. And so we start becoming blind to those flaws. And so it's definitely helpful to have that feedback loop. So when it comes to trolls and such like that, just don't worry about them. And when it comes to people who are actually trying to help, even if it sounds bad, you just have to learn to actually accept it and learn to improve because if you don't, then people like that are just kind of keep saying the same
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah.
Or you'll stagnate or
Yeah,
get into a rut or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
for sure. If it's like troll comments where I know like it's not gonna bother me, I just like I don't. It's really more just funny, and I have like friends that are just like, "Did you see that comment that they left?" I'm like, "Oh, what a loser."
Yeah.
But if it's actual like hard constructive criticism, but it's said in a way that's just like hurtful, that's usually the stuff that gets me too. But
Yeah.
you're right when you say that you can't like let it get to you, because I know you mentioned it that you'll notice most of the flaws, or you'll notice flaws before you put something out, and you just kind of have to accept it.
Mhm.
A lot of the thing with being an artist is you gotta be really reflective, not reflexive. You have to be very self-reflective on what you do and how you make things, and you also gotta not be too hard on yourself when those things happen. That melee video was probably one of like the worst received videos I had on my channel, I think, and it definitely like came to bite me in the butt a couple times. But you just kind of have to keep moving forward and know like, okay, this is who I am, what they're saying is just, it's not going to bug me because I know this is the person I want to be. So you can't let the negative feedback really just get to you too much. You can take some of the criticism and like build off of it. It's like, okay, if this is what this many people think, then I'm going to work next time to try and fix it. And that's all you can really do. It's also helpful that this is like online and you have a life outside of it. So it doesn't, at least for me, it's like, well, that sucked. Now I'm going to go hang out with some friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't carry it with you kind of thing.
Yeah. That's a big thing. You kind of can't let it carry with you or it's going to eat you up.
Yeah, trying to balance your personal life and your online career is very difficult, because if you spend too much time on one thing, then the other suffers.
Yeah, for sure. I'm starting to notice. Sorry, go on.
So yeah, so like for a while, it's like I was so focused on Source Gaming stuff, so focused that I kind of fucked up some of my personal life, and then I had to, pay extra attention to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's hard to balance for sure. In my opinion, where at least for me, starting out, like it was very hard for like a couple of people, like my girlfriend and friends. It's like, guys, like I know I'm always home, but I'm actually working. I'm like trying here. It's hard to balance and like family and whatnot. It's definitely hard to be a content creator when others don't quite understand what that means. And it's hard to explain to other people. It's like, yeah, I do this. And it's like, what is that? And it's like, well, it makes money, so don't worry.
Yeah. No, I definitely understand the balance issue. As somebody who's always had sort of trouble having social life and keeping up with people is already difficult for me. So
yeah,
I'm fortunate to have friends that are really close by. Like I'm roommates with my brother and he has people who come over and they're my friends as well. So he's sort of the channel through which I do have a social life. And there's a lot of people nearby that I work with and spend time with just having fun. So it's definitely helpful to have that. And if you get so enveloped in the internet, it's such a harsh world. And it's easy to become cynical or jaded as a person if you spend too much time online. So you definitely have to keep a balance. Otherwise, you won't be a balanced person.
Yeah, that's zen.
Yeah. There's one thing that you guys kind of mentioned before that I'd like to touch upon is the actual timing of releasing stuff, because that's also a very difficult thing. Because like you guys mentioned, there's a point where you just have to kind of release it, even if you're not totally happy with it.
Yeah.
And I've definitely run into that a couple of times with my own stuff.
It's just that's like when you're an artist, sometimes you gotta, or I've come to this realization before. It's like, you know what? Nothing's ever going to be perfect. You just got to do your best. And that's all you can really do. Because if it was me, because I'm someone who really likes getting like gritty. If it were me, I would spend like too much time on something when I shouldn't be, because it'll overall ruin the timing of when it comes out. So I'm like, you know what? I'm probably going to be the only person that notices this in the video. And a lot of when they say you do public speaking, or I like to include this in other parts of my life, it's like when you're public speaking, don't say sorry or anything at the start, or don't say this or that, because if they don't know you made a mistake, then they won't know. If you say it, then they will. So that's one thing you gotta look at. So sometimes you have to exclude stuff. Sometimes you gotta just keep moving on because of timing. It especially sucks for YouTube's algorithm. That's really one of the main things that does that to YouTubers like us, and especially animators and artists.
Yeah.
It's not an easy algorithm to deal with.
Yeah. And especially when it comes to knowing that there's a flaw in there and just putting it out anyway, someone might find it. And when they do, that's when the negative feedback occurs, right? And like, about it. And so it's sort of self-defeating, but you just have to learn to deal with it. And it's not a personal failure. It's just you have to balance timing and all of these other factors. Yeah. So with the time that you were given, even if there's a flaw there, you have to recognize that you did the best you could, even if it's not perfect. And when you're a perfectionist, I'm like a huge perfectionist.
Yeah.
Like for a long time, I wanted my channel to be like spotless and have like perfect content. It's like, why would you set yourself up for that? It's not going to happen.
It's a hard thing to set yourself up for. Yeah. I've definitely been in that position before where I'm like, okay, I want this to be like that. and it's really hard on yourself, and it really will just stress you out more than anything, because you can never reach that ideal end ever. It's really
Yeah.
hard to. You can only get close to it, but
Yeah.
there'll always be something else.
Yeah, I remember I wrote like a 18-page basic epic on why Wario's designed like the way he is. And looking at the stats for that, like I was like, man, I should the way that I should have released it, I should have totally done it differently because it was just way too much all at once.
Mm-hmm.
And then people didn't read it.
Oh,
And that
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like,
I remember that.
yeah. So I was very heartbroken about that. And then that has kind of like influenced on the length of my articles and stuff like that.
Well, one thing about being a creator is you kind of have to evolve with the medium that you release stuff, because
Mm-hmm.
the only way you want to gain traction, of course. So that means that you're going to have to evolve yourself and like change what you do. A lot of people don't like saying that because it's like, oh, you're going to change for that when you don't. You should just do what you do best and not change, or you want to keep your quality, but some people don't understand that you have to. It's the nature of the world that you have
I
to.
think there's a balance.
Exactly, yeah.
Like you can't lose completely what makes you you, but you also need to be willing to adapt to what the actual reality is.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to balance, where it's just like, do you want, like, do you want to do something for success, or do you want to do it right, or do you want to do it what is more right for you? It's a hard thing to balance, and it's really a lot of creators I've talked to have this struggle as well. It's not
Yeah.
easy.
So that kind of ties into the next question, which is do you guys have any suggestions for people who are aspiring to create content?
You know, I'm faced with this question a lot, and when people ask it of me, like I think about it a lot, and then when people ask me, I don't know what to say because there's so many things. Like, how do you pick one thing of
Yeah.
advice? Because there's so much wisdom that comes from like a year of experience on YouTube or 12 years of creating content.
Yeah.
So I guess one suggestion would be figure out what you're passionate about, because if there's no passion behind it, like don't start creating content for the sake of wanting to be on the platform. Like a lot of people just want to be on YouTube because so many people are doing it and so many people are making it
Yeah.
lucrative. And
Yep.
if you're just creating content for that reason, it's not going to be good. You have to know what
Yeah.
you care about. And if you care about it, then people will notice. People will realize that there's passion behind it. And even if it's not the greatest quality, like there's some YouTubers out there that don't have the best Photoshop chops out there, or the production value is just not that great because they don't have the talent for it, or they just don't have the experience for it. But the content of what they're saying is really strong. So as long as that's there, people will care. And it might be harder for you to get traction that way, but it'll take time, but it'll happen as long as you're persistent and don't give up on it.
That's one of the things where it's just like people see that, oh, you're a YouTuber, maybe I should try it. It's like, it's my passion. I love what I do, and like I don't like it being boiled down to just like something that's like, oh yeah, I could do it too. It's like you really do have to be passionate about what you do, because it's not easy otherwise. Otherwise it'd be like a job that you don't like doing. So you really have to enjoy what you do, because you're going to be putting in the extra hours if that's what you want to do. A usual suggestion for people, like they're like, oh, how can I make content like you? I think the best thing is just to start. If you really want to do something, do it. A lot of people are like, oh, but I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to do that. But one of the best things you can do is just do. Like, just keep on try new things, because Omni and myself, we've been doing stuff for quite a while, and it's only just recently that both of us have somewhat of a following now. So it's definitely more just like, you just got to keep on keeping on and keep doing what you like to do, because eventually you'll find somewhere, if you gain success, you'll find somewhere where people are like, yeah, I agree with what this person is saying, and you might take off. So it's really just a matter of continuing working on things, because as you're doing that, you'll get better, but you'll also keep yourself preoccupied. And at the same time, if you're passionate about it, then it won't feel like that much time you're wasting or putting into it. I don't want to say wasting, because it shouldn't feel like you're wasting time.
Yeah, if you feel like you're wasting time, then it's not you're not in the right field.
Exactly. They're not in it for the right reasons.
Yeah, I remember I tried starting a couple of different blogs before Source Gaming, and they never really took off because I was never motivated to write for them. And it wasn't until I kind of found this passion for kind of information collection that really drove me to even start Source Gaming.
I think going along with what you said about just start doing work, a lot of people are under the impression that they have to be good at something before they can start doing it, especially publicly. And that's not the case, because if you want to be good at it before you start doing it, then you'll never start, because you can't be good until you're bad first. So one of the biggest things is to become friends with failure, because failure is how you get better. And unless you're doing bad work, you're not until you start doing bad work, you're never going to get to the point where you start doing good work. And
exactly,
there's this comic I read called what's it called? I don't remember. I'm sorry, but there's this comic that's about like inspiring artists, and there's this huge emphasis that he has about failure and the fact that failure is the prerequisite to success. So if I can find that site, maybe I can send it to you, and maybe, I don't know if you have like notes or anything, but maybe I can
we published the show notes.
But yeah, definitely realize that you're not going to be good at the start, but that's okay. As long as you're doing it and you love it, you'll grow. People appreciate when you do grow as well. Like if you're starting out and it's bad, but there's passion there, even if it's not a huge following, you'll start building following at the start. And as you get better, it'll only increase. You'll keep getting more and more people who recognize your passion. And then as your content improves, because you're doing it now, it'll grow faster and faster, and it'll pick up speed. And so as long as you're okay with it being slow at the start, because it will be slow, just start doing it. And over time, you'll get better. And all the while, you're going to be building a following. So
I've heard it, like kind of creating a following is kind of like making a snowball.
Yeah.
It starts off very small and it stays small for a while, but then eventually it grows and grows and grows.
Yeah, it's definitely a very, like, you have to be patient. To go along with what you said, Omni, with the failures, when I do camps every summer, and one of the lead facilitators, he does what are they called? A session. And one of the points I took away from him after so many years was just like, get busy making mistakes, because that's really the only way you're going to learn. Mistakes help you grow, learn what you did wrong and what you can do better at. And not to repeat what you've said, but it's really helpful. The one thing about failures, though, is that really turns a lot of people off, and people, especially in our era, they don't like immediate failure. They like immediate success or immediate gratification. And if you're going to be a content creator or any type of artist, that's something that's a mentality you've got to ditch, because you're going to be in it for the long haul if you're passionate about it. And it's very rare that something like this takes off like really quickly. And if it does, then I mean, I don't know. There's no science to it, but it
might fizzle out quickly too.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
You kind of need a base to have long-term like standing, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. So
I found the site. I'll send it to you, but it's called Doodle Alley if you want to find it. But yeah, that's what it's called. Sorry, just wanted to say that.
Okay. Do you guys have any additional questions that you'd like, or any topics that you'd like to discuss?
I mean, we covered a lot, even some of the stuff that we didn't have notes for. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, no, me too. I would just say, next Smash Bros, get your YouTube channels ready. If you're looking to make Smash content. I'm just kidding. No, if you want to do something, just do it. If you're passionate about it, I would say don't wait for any cue. It's YouTube or any content creation, really something you got to learn as you go along. And it's not really something it just clicks for anyone. You may find channels that have like immediate success and you're like, oh, damn, they have 1 million subscribers already. That makes me feel like crap, but you can't let that get to you, because one, it's envious, and two, you got to look out for your own content. Like, you can't really relate what you do to someone else's, because at the end of the day, everyone's different, and followers will follow different YouTubers for different reasons. So
Another thing, real quick, is on the other side of the coin, you want to build a following, right? And it'll be slow at the start, but when you're creating content, don't do it for the following, because that's only going
Yeah.
to make it
Yeah.
very difficult for you, and it's going to be unfulfilling ultimately. Do it for the craft. Do it for what you care about, because if you're doing it for the following, that can go away very easily.
yep,
So
the people
don't set
the
yourself
people
up to be
won't
torn
last.
down. Yeah.
Yeah,
So definitely do it because you care and you want to do it and you enjoy doing it. If you don't enjoy it, don't do it. But recognize that if you want a following, it will come. Just don't make that the driving force behind your work.
yeah, and it's a thing where YouTube, though you'll see channels that are gigantic now, there are channels from like 10 years ago that have gone off the face of the earth, or you just don't know what they're doing anymore. YouTube isn't a long-term thing when it comes to being popular, being famous. I don't like saying famous for YouTube, but it's not really something that's long-term. Even the people that you watch now, they'll eventually get to a point where they're not YouTube famous anymore, and they're just people at the end of the day. So you got to recognize, if you want to make something and be recognized for it, that you'll have a better time, I would say, just doing it if you're passionate about it. And I know people who watch will respect it much more as well.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Well, I think this has been a great discussion. Thank you so much for joining us. Artsy, why don't you tell people where they can find you?
They can find me personally on Twitter at Artsy Omni, and on YouTube I have 2 channels. I work on both Artsy Omni and Smashified, so look those up. And if you want to find me anywhere else, try Artsy Omni, because chances are I'm there as that. So yeah.
All right, and Relax.
Well, you guys can find me on YouTube at Alax. I think that's the link, because I have a specialized one. I'm pretty sure it's that, and as well on Twitter at Alax. And I think that's it. I don't really do Facebook, and yeah, that's it for me.
All right, and for Source Gaming, you can. Well, this will be on our Source Gaming YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And chances are you probably already know about the podcast. But you can also follow us on Twitter at All Source Gaming, or you can follow me personally at PushDustIn. Well, thank you so much for listening. Have a good day. Listening. Have a good day. Listening. Have a good day.